there any, how do we start?
I'm going to turn to the camera and say.
All right. Like, hello!
There you go.
All right.
All right. And hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of EUGE, an inside look at chasing a dream. Today, my guest is Kira Blaus-Plissner. All righty, Kira Blaus-Plissner. Like you know, we talk to young comics, and Kira is a young comic here in Denver, Colorado. Thank you so much for doing the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. So, Kira did the Friday night showcase at Ari's Tavern Friday night and killed it. We're gonna take a look at that later on. I mean, I was really impressed with your show. So
thank you.
That's one of the many reasons that I wanted to talk to you. Another thing about I really liked about your show was your set was you incorporated the audience outside of the building.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You see, and a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't think that, but anyway, I was kind of impressed with that. So I just wanted to hit you up with that. All right. So I guess we start with all the obvious questions. You're from Denver?
I live in Denver. Yeah.
Born and raised, or what?
No, I was born in New Jersey.
Really?
And I moved to Ohio when I was 2, somewhere in there.
Born in New Jersey. How does one get to Denver from New Jersey?
My dad came to Colorado on some whim. I don't really remember. I think he had like a business trip or something, and then he just like went. Right. And then he like came back and was like, "We're leaving Ohio." So we left Ohio, and then we went to Colorado Springs, and I hated it there.
A lot of people love Colorado. You hated Colorado Springs? Well, a lot of people hate Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
Colorado
if you live in Denver, it's because you hated Colorado Springs. There's a lot of beautiful things about it. I didn't like it there. So
yeah, it's nice to look at.
Yeah.
It is.
It's just haunted, and
it's relatively conservative.
Yeah. Well, there is a really big liberal population too. There's an interesting juxtaposition either way, but it wasn't my home, I guess, would be the romantic way of putting it. And then I moved to Denver for college when I was like 17, and I've always really loved it here, so.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, you're here, you're growing up in Colorado. I saw you on stage for the first time. That's actually how I met you. I saw you doing your set. So you're a comic. How did that happen?
Because my very first boyfriend told me I had no sense of humor, I think.
So this is an I'll show you career, huh?
Yeah, pure spite.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't know if I could tell you like how I started doing stand-up other than the crappy reason that a lot of us probably have is you saw someone do it and thought you could do it better. And I used to do poetry slams.
Okay.
And
I've seen a couple of those.
Yeah. Which is good because that breaks the silence.
Right.
But you also get way more used to like stony crowd response. So, and then one time I was at this poetry thing, and there was like maybe 3 of us there. It was kind of on its way out, and we all did our time, and then the host, kind of begrudging, was just like, "Does anyone want to come up again?" So I was like, "I will." And then instead of reading a poem, I just started kind of ranting about my scooter had just been stolen. I had almost been hit by a car. I lost my guitar. I just had a really horrible week that week. So I just went up there and started ranting, but I was doing it in kind of a funny way, and it did really well. So I just kind of started doing that instead.
Comedy therapy. You were venting.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Okay.
And
right?
Anything to show someone that they were wrong about me. So.
Right. So you had a guitar.
I did.
Are you do you do music? Are you a singer? I mean, are you
not very good at it, no. Right. But I like to.
We were talking earlier, and you said to me that you came to comedy from a writing perspective, because we were talking about how I think that it's very, very important to write.
Oh yeah.
It's very, very important to write all the time, as much as you possibly can, especially if you're first starting out. So we were talking about that, and you said you came to comedy from a writing perspective. What was that? What was that perspective? What did you do?
Well, I mean, poetry for one.
Mm-hmm.
I still write constantly. I have a site. I do anything that's too long format for stand-up. I'll put as like an article on my website.
You have a blog?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. What is that?
It's oddmosis.com. Really into things
I love the name.
So
I can't even say it. Oddmosis?
Yeah. oddmosis.com.
Oddmosis.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I have to check that out. I didn't know that. Right on.
Yeah, it's a little pet project. You know? Nothing big. But yeah, I don't know. I think I've just been writing since I figured out that's something you can do. Like, my parents probably still have stories I wrote when I was like 4 or 5.
Okay.
And especially like doing poetry and stuff, I got really frustrated with people who had the same poems, and slam poetry is competitive, so I was often losing to the same poems. And
okay, explain to our audience slam poetry, because I'm sure a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, slam poetry is competitive poetry. There's a little rhetoric they'll give you at the beginning of a slam that explains the history, and I just tuned it all out, so I can't really tell you.
So if I go roses are red, violets are blue, do you get to say something then? Or?
Well, the judges will score you on a scale of 1 to 10, although it's really unlikely you'll get a score below 7.
Okay.
But it's basically competitive, and because there's people judging you, and then the audience can try and sway the judges with their response, you know, like booing a bad score, cheering a good score. And I just remember being really frustrated that people didn't challenge themselves by writing something new if they had a solid poem. So I just kept writing as many as possible, even if they weren't as good. I was like, I'd rather have, 50.
Well, you train that
1.
muscle. You have to train the muscle to
Definitely.
do what you want it to do, So, yeah, writing is definitely a skill that is learned.
Oh, yeah.
So you have done your first set, with your friends in the middle of the night after, okay. Now, somewhere along the way, you decided, I think I want to tell jokes on stage in front of strangers.
Yeah, that would have been, so that first started in Colorado Springs. I moved back there for a little while, and then I moved back to Denver. I moved back and forth every couple years, but I think I'm actually settled here now. But I saw that Three Kings had an open mic, and I wanted to try it out. I didn't know how long you had to do it, and it was really terrible, actually, my first time. But because I went there by myself, and I was hanging out, and then this group of other comics who I would not be able to identify today, were like, oh, are you here by yourself? And I was just like, yeah. So they invited me, and I was hanging out with them during the show, and they're the ones who actually told me about, 5280's, the website where you can check out all the mics and things like that.
5280 Comedy.
Yeah, .com. So they were actually giving me, really great pointers, but I was also getting wasted. And before I went up, my brother had come into town that day, and we'd gotten Thai food, so I was really gassy. And I remember
gassy, wasted, and
ready
to tell jokes,
ready to go. And I was, I think, the last or the second to last person to go up, so I was really, really drunk. I remember them calling my name, not getting it right, and just crop dusting the entire audience on the way up, like a pro. And then I got up there, and before I even got to the microphone, I just remember hearing from behind me just and I thought I heard it in the monitor, but no one else seems to remember this. God. And I remember that happening and being like, well, I can either just let that be my joke, or I can try and do a set. And I think I did, and I